Alright, so I've been getting some work done on the cage, and these last couple days have been some rough ones. Now, you may or may not have noticed that lately I have not been doing very many build videos where I've been actually documenting, you know, the processes and all that of actually building, just kind of been giving you guys crash courses on what I got done. Now, the reason for that is it's very difficult for me to actually make good progress and do stuff while I'm trying to record it, kind of doing everything myself. I don't really have anybody here helping me out with this, so just trying to get stuff done in a timely fashion, I just get it done and then I kind of give you guys an update. And that's the main reason why I haven't been doing that. But getting these door bars welded has been a real pain in the ass. So you can see I do have, this is the style door bars that we ended up going with here. Driver side, passenger side are both done. And they don't tuck as tight to the door as I wanted, but they do go into it a little bit, making it a little bit easier to get in and out. It was kind of one of those things where I just bent one of the bars up, fit it in there, and then got it to a point where it looked good, and then mimicked it to the other side to match. But some of the welds were a little difficult to get to. Now these ones were not bad. I was able to get all the way around on these, up under here, no problem. It was the ones back here that were an issue, and especially back here underneath. Now, while I had everything in here, I was able to get these front bars welded completely around. I was able to get these ones welded up top, down the side, but I couldn't really get to the back. So I had to cut the cage back out off the base plates, cut the base plates out, drop the cage back down, moved it forward. That allowed me to get to that one. But I could only get to that one. Getting back behind here was not happening. There was no way to get to it from behind. I mean, you can't even really see it from back there. And the gap I left myself was barely enough to even get my torch in there. So you might have noticed already there's something actually missing in the car. The dash bar that I built last year with the brakes and steering column mount all had to get cut out. I was hoping I wouldn't have had to do that. I was hoping I'd be able to get this whole thing done without removing that. But at the same time, I did know that if I ever had to get that out for any reason, I was gonna have to cut it in half to get it out, and that's what I ended up having to do. So there is the old dash bar with the pedal assembly, throttle cable adapter, all that. I'm not really too upset about that. I wanted to incorporate that dash bar into the cage anyway, so I'm not really worried about having to redo that. I kind of wanted to redo that pedal mounting system a little bit cleaner and nicer than the square tube and angle iron that I used before. So, it's going to be right this time at least. It'll look a lot more appropriate, be a little bit stronger. But it kind of sucked that I had to cut that out. And the reason I had to cut that out was so that I could actually move the cage forward enough to expose this weld, this section over here where I had to weld it, to bring that forward enough to be able to weld it over here. Then once I did that, this upper one here came out to about here, so I was easily able to weld that too. Now it is a little bit of a bump in the road, something that took a little more time than I was expecting it to, but now that the door bars are welded onto the chassis, we have 3 bars that still need to be put in here, which, for an example, this tube is going to go between these 2 bends like that, and then this one's going to connect at these 2 bends like that. So you're going to have one facing out this way, one facing out that way, and then a vertical one in the center. And then another bar that I did on my GTO that I actually really liked, it was kind of a pain in the ass to get in and out sometimes, but in between this bend and the A-pillar, I had a bar like that. So it can be a pain in the ass for your foot getting in and out sometimes, but it actually makes it a lot easier to get out sometimes as well. So when you're getting out of the car, you actually have a bar to that's easily accessible to grab onto. Can make it easy to get in and out. Can kind of be a pain in the ass to get in and out depending on how tight it is, but I am going to add that bar there, build a new dash bar into the cage that'll hold the pedal assembly, steering column, all that stuff. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. And while we have the dash bar out, you guys can kind of get a better idea of what's going on back there. You can see it a little bit clear. Some of the wires are just hanging right now and zip tied up out of place. We have the bulkhead for the ECU, the bulkheads for the brake lines that go through the firewall right there. You can see the steering column flange down there. These are the lines that go to the fill reservoirs for the master cylinders that go through the firewall. ECU mounting, you know, all the power distribution stuff, charge pipe, the blow-off valve flange. But the next step, and what I'm going to try and get done today, I need to get base plates welded back on so I can get the cage back up in place. Put the anti-intrusion bars back on it. Basically what I'm going to do, get that all installed, or get the base plates back in, get the cage set on it, put the anti-intrusion bars in, push the cage forward into the anti-intrusion bars, tack the anti-intrusion bars in place, and make sure I can actually get around and weld all that before I tack it in there, because I might need to scooch it back or something to weld all the way around it. Shouldn't be a problem. With it in place, it looks like I have enough room there to actually get my TIG torch in and weld all the way around it. But, you know, it's going to be one of those things that's kind of a figure it out as I go in the order process of it, because I really don't want to have to cut this out a third time. But anti-intrusion bars in, put the dash bar in, get my seat mounted, mount the steering column up where it needs to go, and then remount the pedal assembly. And then I have to do the door bars here too. Now to do all that stuff, I still have about 23 feet of tubing left, so should be more than enough tubing to finish the cage. There was a couple extra braces, like I wanted to do a diagonal or an X brace across the back here, but I also really want to get a rear crash bar done, so I might hold off on doing the extra bracing to the cage, because that's easy enough to add later, and focus on getting the rear crash bar done. That way I can finish the bumper mounts and all the other stuff, and, you know, basically tie up the rear end of the car here. But we're getting close. We almost have a huge milestone knocked off on the build, which is the cage and chassis work. So once that's done, it's going to be on to, I think, building the engine finally, or at least buying stuff to build the engine. I'll still have a little bit of fab work left over to do, but between, you know, all the time I've been spending on this and not spending money on other stuff, I have been able to save up a little bit of money. So looks like I actually might be able to buy some engine parts this coming week or two. Maybe start with like a crankshaft, rods, bearings, just get the stuff to get the bottom end of the engine built. I'll have to hold off on stuff like oil pump and I don't know, a couple other little things. I need a higher amperage alternator for it and some stuff like that, but I already have lifters, pistons, push rods, a couple other stuff. The heads are built, they still need to be machined, but we're moving along, making progress. Just trying to keep you guys updated on what's going on. If you guys have any questions, post them down below. Love to do another Q&A for you guys. But that's going to be it for this one. So like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow the build along. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.